Now, the Albanese Labor government is moving forward with its new plan to divide us by race. The Voice to Parliament is a scheme which will divide Australians and do little, in my opinion, for reconciliation. It will enshrine race into the Constitution. And here we have the Prime Minister of Australia vowing to move forward with the scheme even if the coalition refuses to support it, which is not only somewhat disgraceful but dangerous, I would have thought. Peter Dutton should have shut the prospect down as soon as he could. Instead, he's kind of danced around on this one and let the issue move forward. Well, who better to chat to about The Voice than Indigenous leader Warren Mundine, who joins us here on The Bolt Report. Great to see you, Warren. How are you?
Great to see you too. You're looking very spiffy.
Thank you, mate. I don't have your natural good looks, so obviously I'm dressing up and doing my best, mate.
Yeah, sure.
How are you?
Good.
Okay, so the Voice. Anthony Albanese is saying, OK, we're going to do this anyway, we're going to go forward. So a couple of things kind of spring to mind. First of all, in your opinion, is The Voice necessary? That's the first thing.
Yep.
And secondly, is there not a danger that if we go rushing into some kind of referendum and it fails, that it actually does more damage to reconciliation? Or is that not a risk?
It is a big risk. Look, let's get back to, do we need a voice to Parliament in the first place? To me, it's like a solution looking for a problem. Right. We've got more Indigenous people now sitting in the federal parliament. We've got Indigenous people across Australia in the state and territory parliaments as well. We've never had so many people in parliament ever. And yet, I always find this funny, they say we need a voice. When I go to Canberra to meet with the politicians and bureaucrats, I'm tripping over all our people. There's hundreds of them there. They're all in there knocking on the doors and doing things. Look, we're a liberal democracy. We believe in rights and freedoms and equality and that, Aboriginal people have fought for, since 1901 for these rights to be recognised. We wanted voting rights. The Menzies government gave us voting rights in 1962. We wanted to be treated equal. All the discrimination laws against Aboriginal people by the end of the 60s and early 70s were all gone. In fact, I challenge anyone who can point to a legislation that's discriminatory against Aboriginal people. Plus, we've got people at universities, we've got doctors, we've got engineers, yes, even lawyers, and even though I don't know if they improve civilisation, but anyway, we've got them as well. So we've got all this happening, and we've got businesses, we've got things are great. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but we're heading in the right direction. We've got an incredible society now, and I just can't understand some of the language that is spoken out there, like decolonisation. What does that mean in our institutions? We've got some of the best institutions in the world. That's why people get on boats and try to come to this country.
And you mentioned the 11 Indigenous representatives in Parliament. Doesn't this devalue them or delegitimise them? Because, a great friend of yours and a great friend of mine is Jacinta Price. She is, as far as I'm concerned, the most authentic and the best voice Indigenous Australians could ever hope for. Such an outstanding... She's one of the best candidates.
Second to me, anyway.
Well, you were almost one as well. But when you've got an outstanding candidate like that, all Indigenous Australians should be proud, all Australians should be proud to have such an excellent candidate, excellent MP, senator there. But suddenly you go, oh, no, you're not good enough to speak or to discuss things to do with Indigenous Australia. We've got another mob over here who aren't elected, by the way, or they are elected by whatever process it arrives at. Doesn't it delegitimise their role?
Well, this is what we've been fighting for. We wanted a voice in Parliament. We wanted to be like every other Australian. You had to go out there, you had to join a political party, you had to prosecute your case, you had to win people over to vote for you, and then you got into the Parliament, and then you had to do things. Now, on all sides, I've got very good friends in the Labor Party as well as the Coalition, and you're right about Jacinta. I was only joking before. She's just brilliant. Yeah. And of course, Karen Little, who's coming in now for the Liberal from South Australia. Another one. The challenge for Peter Dutton, and you just mentioned this earlier, and Julie and Lisa, are they going to go against the Aboriginal Conservatives in that parliament because they do not support the voice. And so this is going to be a challenge for Peter Dutton. And also the incredible that, Albanese would go down that line. I'm going to run a referendum when all sides don't support it. We know the track record on that. If you don't get both sides of the political divide supporting a referendum, they die. They die very quick. So what you're going to do? Spend millions, multi-million dollars of taxpayers' money when he knows it's going to be defeated.
And also, just quickly before we go, Warren, Albo's argument is, oh, well, everyone said no to Sorry Day or whatever, and everyone said no to this, that and the other, and we did them all and they've happened. But I would argue the opposite is true. Such a kerfuffle over Sorry Day. Yeah. What did it achieve tangibly? And if it had achieved anything tangibly, why do we now have this next stage?
Well, you're right in regard to the tangibility. I thought it was a good thing for them to do. And I think people on Twitter world need to wake up too, because I was abused. They're saying, the coalition didn't support it. Well, the coalition did. In fact, they seconded that motion. The real issue is this... They think this. They're trying to make this some sort of magic pudding that all this good stuff's going to come out of it. What are the practical, as you said, tangible things? Is it going to deal with violence within Aboriginal communities? Is it going to deal with the number of Aboriginals that are going to jails? Yep. Is it going to get economic development and jobs into Aboriginal communities? There's none of that.
Exactly. And these are all things, Warren Mundine, that you have fought so passionately for. That's why, my hat off to you, because you've done such a great job actually working for tangible outcomes.
Warren Mundine,
that's what we need. Thanks so much for coming on the Bolt Report this evening.
Thanks for having me, Rowan.
See you, Warren.